Valerie here, and today I want to talk through how to use Canva. Now, Canva is one of those tools that I actually resisted for a long time because I'm kind of a purist. I learned how to use Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator, and I could do a lot of the same things in those kinds of programs. However, once I've embraced Canva, I realized how easy it is to use templates. And and Canva has a lot of great tools. So it's limited in some ways, but it has a lot of great things that if you're just starting off, you don't know how to use Photoshop, you don't know how to use Illustrator, maybe you're not formally trained as a graphic designer like I was, you can still do a lot of great things with Canva. So this is what it looks like when you're logged in. You'll create an account, and this is with the free version. So it's, go ahead and use the free version until you have to upgrade, because the free version is really all that I've ever needed for basic stuff. So Canva allows you to create something. And what's great about Canva, and this is why I love using it, is it allows you to create a lot of things with preset sized templates. So if I want to create an Instagram post, it automatically sizes to the pixel size that's ideal for Instagram. Now, when social media platforms make some adjustments, sometimes it takes a little bit of time for Canva to catch up, but for the most part, they do a great job. Now, let's say you want to design a poster. You can see here their default size for a poster is 18 inches by 24 inches. Postcards, great sizes for postcards. If you want to do a flyer or letterhead, look at that. It automatically defaults to the size of a typical piece of paper. So as you scroll down this page, you'll see that they've kind of organized things by some standard types of things that are most common. So Twitter posts, Pinterest graphic, Facebook post, Instagram, Tumblr, all these kind of basics. You can also do documents, which honestly I've never messed with. I tend to lean more towards creating smaller graphics. If I need to do something that has a lot of text in it, like a letter or a resume, I'm going to go do that in something like InDesign, because you have a lot more capability and a lot easier time adjusting the text. I like to use Canva more as a graphic creation tool. If you're wanting to create stuff for book covers, CD covers, you can just do a lot of really fun, simple things. So scroll through this homepage to see what your options are, because there are a lot of great things that with the click of a button, you can have an Instagram post getting ready to go just like that. Now, sometimes you're using tools and you're working with a website template and they tell you that it needs to be 500 pixels by 1000 pixels, and you want to use custom dimensions. So you want to make sure that you click on that custom dimension button, make sure that you're using the right type of dimension. So pixels is typically what you'll see for websites. And then you can make it, let's do 1000 by 500, and then hit design. And it will make that layout for that size. So now you can see it's a very rectangular shape. And you can see here that there's some standard layouts. So if, let's say, I want to have two photos side by side, I can select one of those. If I want to change it to be 3 pictures side by side, I can adjust those. Or I don't have to do a layout at all. And I just clicked on that and hit delete. But I'm going to pop back over to the home page, and I'm going to start actually with a standard type of thing. So let's do an Instagram post. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to create me an untitled design for an Instagram post. And I just want to walk you through the basics so that you can discover, because there are a ton of things that you can play around with here. So what it's going to default to, it's going to open up that new Instagram post in another tab on the window, and it's going to give you an option to, it's going to default here to the layouts. And you can see here that there are a ton, and you can see here when it says free versus when I hover over this one, it has a $ sign next to it. So let's say I want to create an Instagram post that's more like an inspirational quote. It's going to default to this, and I can select any of these. If I want to switch to be a different one, it will automatically replace what was over there. Now, let's continue to walk through the left-hand menu, and then we'll continue to walk through kind of how to edit and customize it further. You have elements. These elements are, you can look through free photos, and in there you can search for, let's say, sunset, and you can see here there's a ton that are free that you can simply click on and it'll pop into the image, or you can drag and drop it into a specific spot on your image. Let's go back to elements, and you can see here there are grids, which we saw here earlier before, where if you want to make something like a 4x4 square, or you want to put a bunch of images and be able to place a bunch of things side by side, these are just kind of some good layouts. Now, frames are one of my favorite tools on Canva. My favorite one is a little bit further down, but I love just the circle. And we can see the circle right here. And you can see here it's got this little landscape image behind it. So then I can go back, I can click out of frames, and I can go back to free photos, to my sunset photos, and I can just drag and drop an image onto that circle, and it automatically creates a frame around that image. Now, I can double click on that, and I can shift it to be wherever I want on that image. Now, let's go back over to all of our different elements. We can pop over to shapes. Let's say I just want a purple circle. I can click on the circle, click up here on the color, and I can click and make it purple if I want to make it kind of like an accent circle to the photo. They have a ton of different shapes in here. Then, if I look at elements, you can also put lines in there. You can also put illustrations in there. So you can see here there's a lot of these types of just more clip art types of images if you want to have that kind of look on your graphic. And then let's see here. Illustrations, we have icons, which are even more basic, and there are charts. So if you're wanting to convey some information, you can create some basic charts. And then Canva in the free version and in the paid version as well has these lovely little Canva graphics. Now, I don't really use these very much, but they are certainly some fun little things to play with. So explore the elements section. That's a really important section. Now, then text, you can also use, you can start with basic heading, subheading, or basic paragraph text. If you click on it, it drops it in there, and you can say, test post or whatever your title is. And you can, when you're selected in a text box, you can come up here and you can change the font. You can change the size. You can even change the color. You can change the orientation. You can make it bullet points, and you can also make it all uppercase. So you can also adjust with the spacing. And let's say you want that to go, you want that to be a little transparent. You can change the transparency on it. So pay attention to this menu that pops up when you click on a text box. Now, Canva has a bunch of text kind of formats already compiled that you can easily drop in. So if you like these two fonts for happy birthday, you can click on them and it will drop it in, and you can simply move it around however you'd like. If you don't want an image or an item, you can click on it and click this trash can, or you can hit the delete button. Now, the other fun section is the backgrounds. Backgrounds are just the more geographic patterns that you can select as a background. And some of these are really, really fun. One of my favorites is this one. that has just the gradient. And if I change the color, you can see how that gradient really pops. So sometimes those are some subtle ways to add just some interest. Now, if you want to purchase any of these other backgrounds, you'll see here that there's a watermark, and this grid watermark will go away once you pay. And those are typically, you can see here, they're typically only $1. Same thing with some of the images. So use Canva. If you find an image in there that's paid, go ahead and use it. $1 to use an image is a very cheap way to get stock photos. Now, the other section that you're really going to want to look at is uploads. And this is where you can drag and drop images from your computer, or you can click this green button to add them to this Canva account. And from there, you can see here, I've got a ton of images from this children's youth camp that I could drag and drop into a layout or into a frame. I could make one of these a background image by making it larger, moving it down. Oh, and I'm going to hit the undo button. I'm going to move this down, and you can see because I extended it the full width, it put it to the very back of the image. So Uploads is a great place where you can add images, especially if you think you're going to use them again. I always like to make sure that I have the logos that I need, which you'll see here at the bottom, so that if I wanted to quickly watermark an image, I could simply throw that on top of the image, and honestly, I could delete the rest of this stuff. And let's say I want to make that a little bit lighter so the logo pops a little bit more. Actually, no, let's say I want to make it darker so that the white logo pops a little bit more. I can click on the image and then on filter, and I can make it darker. You can also see that there's other filters similar to how there are on Instagram if you want to give it a different look. So now let's say you've got this image the way you want it. You simply go up here to download and make sure it's the file type that you want. I typically like PNGs for web, and I can hit download. And it will prepare my design. It'll take a few seconds. And remember, this is all a website-based program, so depending on how fast your Wi-Fi is, you might experience it a little bit slower or faster. But then, as soon as it loads, it should show me. Why is it not showing me? Let's try that again. Well, my photo program is having issues opening photos at the moment, but it will default to your downloads folder or wherever you have your downloads going to save, and you should be able to then use that to upload on whatever platform you're doing it, whether that's on your website or your social media accounts. One thing you might want to look at too is looking at what your title's name is. So let's make a fun little name for this so that when it downloads, it tells us exactly what it is. And so now it'll download to be that name. Now, one thing I will also mention, a lot of times people will make, if we go over to all our designs, they'll make a ton of images and duplicate all of these little quotes. Now these are all the exact same size. There's no reason that they need to be their own individual file. What you can do is simply copy or add a new page, and then you can add in and make a whole another one. Now when you've got multiple pages and you go to download, you'll see you can select, I just want the second page, or I want all of them. So this is a really great way if you're creating multiple images that have a similar look and feel with just slight variations. You can create them all and then download them all in one batch. Canva is a really great tool. There's a lot of great things that you can do with it. It's not really a logo making tool. It's not really great for blurring out the background of an image. Those are things that really Photoshop are much better at. But if you're wanting to create some basic graphics, especially if they are branded for your location or your business, this is a really great way to do that. And if you're looking for ways to create graphics that fit specific sections on a website or specific sections for social media posts, this is a really great tool to do so that doesn't require you having to pay for expensive software, learning brand new tools. A lot of this is very intuitive, and as you've seen here in this tutorial, it's all very doable and allows you something that's really not going to break the bank, but allows you some really, really versatile options. So dive into Canva. I can't wait to see what kind of graphics that you create and how you're using this to enhance and create a beautiful website.